It seems sense to compare the iPad Pro 2020 to the MacBook Air 2020. The iPad Pro is large and powerful enough to serve as a capable productivity tool. While having a tablet to work on is good, the iPad Pro 2020 can't match the capabilities of the MacBook Air 2020 with Apple's M1 CPU, which offers more battery life, faster performance, and even iOS apps. This is why we've included the 2020 Air in our list of the finest laptops. Apple produced a new iPad Pro with the M1 chip after this story was initially published in 2021. The iPad Pro 2021, 11-inch, and iPad Pro 2021, 12.9-inch, are available in two sizes, both with improved performance, brighter screens, and increased features over the iPad Pro 2020. Still, if you look around, you can find a good deal on a 2020 iPad Pro, and if you don't need all of the bells and whistles introduced to the 2021 versions, the iPad Pro 2020 paired with a Magic Keyboard provides a decent laptop-like experience replete with a trackpad. Don't be fooled by the low starting price. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro, which we're comparing since its screen is closest to the 13.3-inch MacBook Air display, starts at $999, but the price quickly rises when you add accessories. The Magic Keyboard, for example, costs between $299 and $349, and the second-generation Apple Pencil costs $129. The iPad Pro with keyboard costs $1,348, while the iPad Pro with pencil costs $1,477. The iPad Pro also comes with a Wi-Fi Plus cellular version, which has built-in LTE connectivity, which the MacBook Air lacks. You receive 128 GB of storage by default, but you can upgrade to 256 GB, $100, 512 GB, $300, or 1 TB, $500. The MacBook Air has a more clear pricing structure. It starts at $999 and comes with the M1 CPU, 8 GB of RAM, and 256 GB of storage, which is twice as much as the iPad Pro. There's also a keyboard provided. The Air's $1,249 configuration has an 8-core integrated GPU version of the M1 CPU. The $999 model has a 7-core GPU, as well as 512 GB of storage. Although the MacBook Air's display is somewhat larger than the iPad Pro's, 13.3 inches versus 12.9 inches, the iPad Pro screen is superior in almost every other regard. Furthermore, the iPad Pro's panel is the only one with a 120Hz refresh rate. Advertisement. The iPad Pro's display has a higher resolution of 2732 by 2048 pixels than the MacBook Air's 2560 by 1600 pixels. The iPad Pro screen averaged 559 nits of brightness in our lab testing, well exceeding the 365.8 nits of the MacBook Air. The iPad Pro also outperformed the iPad Air 2 in terms of sRGB color gamut, 122% versus 114%, so you can expect more vibrant colors from Apple's tablet. Color accuracy is the one area where the Air came out on top. The iPad Pro received a Delta E score of 0.34, which is slightly higher than the iPad Air's 0.22. The new MacBook Air has a better scissor switch keyboard, which is far more comfortable to type on than the previous MacBook Air's butterfly keyboard. Not only does the layout provide more travel, 1mm versus 0.5 mm, but it also feels snappier overall. A big 4.75 by 3.2-inch touchpad is also included with the MacBook Air. The optional Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro has the same scissor mechanism as the MacBook Air, with the same 1mm of travel and a similar typing experience. The Magic Keyboard's floating cantilever design magnetically attaches the iPad Pro, allowing you to alter the display's angle up to 130 degrees. The touchpad on the iPad Pro Magic Keyboard is smaller than the one on the MacBook Air, but this was not a problem in our iPad Pro Magic Keyboard review. The greatest difference between the two keyboards is that the iPad Pro Magic Keyboard costs a lot more. It starts at $299, which makes you wonder why you aren't getting a laptop instead. There will be no competition in this round. There are two Thunderbolt-C ports on the MacBook Air, as well as a headphone jack. The iPad Pro features only one USB-C connector and no headphone jack, while the Magic Keyboard adds an extra USB port for pass-through charging. The iPad Pro boasts undoubtedly one of the most powerful processors in any tablet, and the MacBook Air changed the game by being far faster than any previous Air. The new MacBook Air's M1 Apple Silicon processor and the iPad Pro's A12Z Bionic chip both have 8-core CPUs. The iPad Air comes with a 7-core or 8-core GPU, but the iPad Pro only comes with an 8-core GPU. When compared to the Intel MacBook Pro on Geekbench 5, which evaluates overall performance, the iPad Pro used to be faster. The iPad scored 1,126 on the single-core component and 4,720 on the multi-core portion of the test. The MacBook Air scored considerably better, with scores of 1,303 and 5,925. The greatest distinction between the iPad Pro and the MacBook Air is this. The iPad Pro is powered on iPadOS, a touch-first operating system that now accepts cursor input across the board. You may now select text using a Bluetooth mouse, external trackpad, or Apple's Magic Keyboard with trackpad, as well as employ motions like flicking 3 fingers up to reveal all of your open apps. Multitasking capabilities such as slide over, running programs on top of others, and split view, running 2 apps side by side, are still available in iPadOS, and the configurable Today screen provides useful widgets to help you keep on top of your day. Furthermore, only iPadOS supports the use of the Apple Pencil for drawing, taking notes, and marking up documents. Cameras and special features of the iPad Pro versus MacBook Air. The iPad Pro is the way to go if you want to make content. A 12MP wide camera and a new 10MP ultra-wide camera are included in Apple's tablet, allowing you to capture more of the scene when filming. The iPad Pro also has the ability to record 4K video at 60 frames per second, which the MacBook Air lacks. The iPad Pro also boasts a front-facing 7MP true depth camera for selfies and face recognition to rapidly unlock the tablet. In addition, unlike the MacBook Air, the iPad Pro has a LiDAR scanner that significantly increases augmented reality app performance. Apple Pencil compatibility is another significant benefit of the iPad Pro. You can easily take notes, draw, and mark on documents with a $129 attachment. When magnetically fastened to the top of the iPad Pro, the Apple Pencil charges. Unfortunately, the MacBook Air only has a low-resolution 720p camera for video chats. However, it does make use of machine learning to improve the quality of your stream. You can't log in using your face. Instead, a Touch ID button on the keyboard deck is used. When it comes to special features, the Air's ability to run iPhone and iPad apps on it means it can't be dismissed lightly. This game used to be a nail-biter. The iPad Pro lasted a very good 10 hours and 16 minutes on our battery test, which entails continuous web surfing over Wi-Fi at 150 nits of screen brightness. The Intel MacBook Air couldn't keep up, clocking in at 931. However, after Apple ditched Intel in favor of its own ARM-based Apple Silicon, the MacBook Air lasted much longer, clocking in at 1441. This one is tight, and while the Air came out on top by 10 points, it may not be the best option for everyone. However, after comparing this tablet and laptop in a variety of categories, it's evident where they shine, and where they don't. For individuals who wish to travel light and want a touch-first experience with a superior display, the iPad Pro is the preferable alternative. Apple's tablet is also a better pick for content creators, because to the built-in cameras and optional Apple Pencil, which provide a level of adaptability that the MacBook Air lacks. Advertisement. However, when it comes to raw speed and battery life, the MacBook Air has surpassed the iPad Pro. Additionally, individuals simply seeking for a reliable laptop will find that the MacBook Air is the best option and value. When you include in the cost of the iPad Pro's extra keyboard, the Air is far more economical than the iPad Pro. Furthermore, the macOS interface is simply better suited for regular productivity activities, and the Air also has more ports. Bottom line, for certain people, the iPad Pro is the finest tablet you can buy that can also serve as a laptop, and the MacBook Air is the best laptop for the majority of people. Despite some drawbacks, I would choose the Air since you can't go wrong.